I thought I had everything figured out. I woke up every morning knowing he'd be there. The sunlight spilling across his face, the quiet hum of our apartment wrapped around us like it was ours and ours alone. "Coffee's ready," I called, leaning against the doorway. "Thanks, babe," he mumbled, without looking up from his phone. I smiled, the kind of stupid, happy smile that only exists when you think love will protect you forever. "You okay?" I asked, noticing the crease between his brows. "Yeah, just work stuff," he said, dismissive, and I nodded. I didn't want to push. I trusted him, and I never thought trust could betray you. Later, I was scrolling through my messages when I saw it. Her name? My sister. My stomach dropped. I tapped the chat. My heart raced. The messages were small, casual, teasing even, but the words stabbed me. "Can't wait to see you tonight. Miss you." My hands shook. I reread it. "I think about you more than I should." I backed away from my phone, tried to breathe. No, this wasn't real. Not them. Not together. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked, glancing up as I held the phone like it burned my hand. I swallowed. What is this?" I pointed to the screen. He laughed softly, but there was something sharp underneath it. "It's nothing. You're overreacting? Nothing?" "Nothing." I couldn't stop the anger from spilling out. "She's your sister. You're retexting her like this?" His laugh turned cold. "I can't control my conversations, can I?" "You're imagining things? Seriously? I'm imagining things?" I shouted. "You think I'm crazy? You think I'd make this up?" "I'm saying you're reading too much into it. Maybe you're stressed. Maybe you're being paranoid. I don't know, but this is ridiculous." His eyes were calm, but I felt my world cracking in his indifference. I wanted to hit something. Scream, throw the phone, anything to make the disbelief leave my chest. "I trusted you. I trusted both of you." "You're overreacting," he said again, almost too softly now, and walked past me. I spun around and grabbed his arm. "No, you don't get to walk away." "Explain." He shook me off and muttered, "I don't owe you an explanation." I felt my chest tighten, the betrayal pressing down like a heavy stone. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think, yet a part of me still wanted to believe he'd tell the truth. I went to my sister's room. She was lounging on her bed, scrolling through her phone, smirk playing at her lips. "Hey," I started, my voice trembling. "What's going on between you and him?" She looked up, and her eyes were too calm, too knowing. "What do you mean?" "You know exactly what I mean," I said, my hands shaking. "I saw the messages. How could both of you betray me like this?" She tilted her head like she was assessing me as if I'd lost my mind. "Betray you? Wow, drama much? I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie to me," I shouted. "He's supposed to be mine. I trusted him. I trusted you. You're my sister." She shrugged, leaning back against the pillows. "Well, life's messy, isn't it? Maybe it's not about trust. Maybe it's about desire." I stared at her, my heart pounding, disbelief warping into fury. "You're proud of this?" "I'm not proud, I'm honest," she said lightly. "You should get used to the fact that people change. You're holding on to what doesn't exist anymore." I felt like the walls were closing in. I couldn't believe her. My own sister. My own love. They had conspired without a hint, without remorse. I stormed back into the living room. He was sitting on the couch, pretending to read something on his tablet. "We need to talk," I said, but I knew it was pointless. "We've been talking," he said smoothly. "I just think maybe you're misinterpreting. You always overthink things." "I am not overthinking." I yelled, "You're cheating on me with her." "Cheating?" He leaned back, calm, detached. "No, I'm in okay. Maybe we flirted, but it wasn't serious. It wasn't serious." My voice broke. "You text her like you're in love with her." "Love?" He laughed. "Don't be dramatic. It's just fun. You're taking this way too seriously. I don't want to hurt you, but you're imagining things. You always do." I felt like my chest would explode. My trust, my entire life, my plans, Everything I could see it unraveling in front of me. I turned away. I don't even know who you are anymore. And maybe I don't know my own sister either. Said nothing. She said nothing. Silence became the only answer, and it was louder than any confession could be. I sank into the chair, hands on my face. I thought we were happy. I thought I had my life figured out. But the truth was staring at me, sharp and cold. My life, the future I thought was safe, was gone, shattered, and the people I trusted most had torn it apart. I whispered to myself, barely audible, how do I even begin to fix this? The room stayed silent. No comfort came. No apologies. Only the realization that the perfect life I thought I had was nothing but a lie. I felt a strange mix of despair and the first sparks of resolve. Maybe I couldn't trust them, but maybe I could trust myself. And that thought, small and fragile, was the first thing I held on to in the wreckage. I stayed in my apartment for days. I didn't answer calls, didn't reply to messages, didn't want to see anyone. The betrayal kept looping in my mind like a broken record. Every detail of their smiles, every whispered word I'd missed, every laugh I'd thought was innocent. It all felt like knives in my chest. A knock broke my thoughts. I ignored it. Another knock, louder this time. Come on, open up. I know you're in there, man. I groaned. It's locked, I muttered, voice hollow. Don't act like this is going to make it easier on you. My best friend Ryan tried the handle. Seriously? What happened? You vanished. I rubbed my face. Nothing happened. I just need space. Nothing? He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. You've been off. You're not sleeping? You're not eating. Don't lie to me, man. Shook my head. I said I need space, Ryan. That's all. Oh, you need help, not space. He sighed. I saw your sister the other day. She's sussing this. I don't know how, but she's playing everyone like a game. I clenched my fists. I don't care. I just need to stay away from all of them. Both of them. Both. His eyes widened. You mean him too? I nodded, swallowing hard. Yes, both of them. I can't stand the sight of either one. He shook his head. Isolation isn't going to fix this. You're letting them control how you feel. You need to think. I am thinking, I said sharply. I'm thinking I'll never trust again. I'm thinking maybe I should just disappear from their lives. You can't disappear, man. You have responsibilities. Work, Bilsu. Can't let this ruin everything. I avoided his eyes. He was right, but anger and betrayal clouded my judgment. I'd been distracted at work for days, missing deadlines, misplacing files. My boss had already called me in for a meeting, and I'd barely listened. The thought of my ex and sister thriving while I stumbled made my stomach twist. Hey, Ryan said softly, putting a hand on my shoulder. Don't let them win. Don't let their actions destroy your future. You're stronger than this, even if you don't feel it. I looked away, bitter. Stronger? I feel like a fool. Everything I built of everything I believed in gone. Ryan's grip tightened. Then build it again. But carefully, don't rush. Don't burn bridges you'll need later. Think smart, not just angry. I nodded slowly, trying to calm the storm inside. He left after a while, but his words lingered. The next day at work, I noticed subtle things. My sister had leveraged my ex's charm to get into positions, gaining favors from people I'd introduced. The way she smiled, the way he winked, the way people deferred to them, it was a knife in my chest. I started jotting notes in my notebook, small observations, patterns, opportunities. I didn't trust anyone to share my thoughts. Not yet? Hey, you okay? Asked Sam, a coworker I'd barely noticed before. He leaned against my desk, casual but curious. I shrugged. I'm fine. Just busy, you don't seem fine? He studied me for a moment. Look, I don't want to pry, but I see potential in what you do. Don't let outside drama kill that. I blinked. Thanks, I appreciate it. He smiled faintly. If you ever want to strategize or talk business, I'm here. No judgment, no questions about personal stuff. Just results. Something about that honesty calmed me slightly. I nodded, silently promising to remember it. That night, I sat in my apartment, flipping through my notebook. Every message, every glance, every subtle move they'd made was there. I wrote down thoughts, plans, ideas. I didn't know if it was revenge or just preparation for my own life. Either way, I needed control again. I muttered to myself, I can't let them think this broke me. I can't. I won't. My phone buzzed a group chat from friends. I ignored it. The thought of pretending to be okay while hiding this turmoil made my stomach twist. I wasn't ready to face anyone, not yet. I replayed conversations with my ex, his smooth lies, the way he denied everything, the way he made me doubt my own mind. And my sister, her smirk, the arrogance, the calm that said she thought she had one. I leaned back in my chair, rubbing my temples. Do I confront them? Forgive them? Or do I wait? The moral dilemma gnawed at me. Every instinct screamed revenge, but I knew impulsive action could ruin more than it fixed. Patience, planning, observation. That's what I needed. The next few days, I kept myself busy. I avoided my phone. I avoided social media. I watched from a distance. I noticed them thriving on family favors, on charm, on the very networks I had introduced them to. Each observation tightened my resolve. Someday, I whispered, tapping my notebook, this will all come back to you. You'll regret it. I'll make sure of it. Ace. For the first time since the bet. I saw them together for the first time after the fallout, my ex holding her hand, laughing like I didn't exist. My chest tightened. I wanted to storm across the street, scream, hit something, but I didn't. I stopped myself, letting the anger burn quietly. Shaping it instead of letting it destroy me, I muttered under my breath, they think they won. They think I'm broken. A voice beside me startled me. You're not as invisible as you think. I turned to see a man in his 50s, gray-streaked hair, sharp eyes. Excuse me? I asked, defensive. I've been watching you, he said, calm. You re-smart? But you're letting emotions dictate your actions. That's dangerous. I don't need advice, I snapped, though curiosity pricked at me. He smiled faintly. Maybe not, but someone needs to tell you that petty revenge is just fire without control. You can burn them, yes, but you'll get burned too if you're not careful. I frowned. And you are? Call me Mr. Carter. I've been where you are. Heartbroken, betrayed, blind with rage. But I learned a better way. Power, patience, strategy. I studied him, skeptical. And why should I listen? Because I see potential. You have fire, but fire without direction is chaos. You want them to regret what they did? You need leverage, knowledge, influence. I looked away, my jaw tight. Leverage, influence, sick. Controlling what they control. Exactly. But first, you rebuild yourself. Quietly. Slowly. Observe. Plan. Strike when it matters most. His words echoed in my mind. I nodded slowly. And you think that's possible? After everything they did? It's not about thinking. It's about acting, he said. You've been reacting. That ends now. You need to decide what kind of man you want to be. I clenched my fists. The rage that had consumed me the past days suddenly sharpened into clarity. I want to rise. Not just hurt them, but surpass them. Control what they tried to take from me. Good, he said approvingly. Then start with information. Study the networks, the business ties, the people who matter. Use what they overlook: confidence, charm, diligence. They left holes in their empire. Fill them. I nodded again, determination hardening my spine. I can do that. I'll need time. And guidance. I'll advise when needed, he said, stepping back. But the work is yours. Your rise will be quiet at first. They won't see it until it's too late. I watched him leave and exhaled, a strange mix of relief and anticipation. I knew what I had to do. The next morning, I started small. I opened my laptop and researched financial opportunities. Stocks, startups, investments, anything that could give me leverage in the world they were flaunting as theirs. I scribbled notes furiously, ideas spilling across pages. Okay, I muttered to myself. They're strong in charm, in connection, so I'll be strong in strategy, in planning. Every move calculated. Days passed. I barely spoke to anyone except work-related calls. My apartment became a war room. Charts, notes, observations, all silently chronicling my plan. One evening, I noticed an email from an old contact, someone my sister had introduced to our family business. It contained financial reports she had overlooked. My pulse quickened. "This is it," I whispered. "This is where it starts." I started drafting scenarios, imagining how I could leverage her mistakes. I didn't need confrontation yet. I didn't need drama. I needed control. Ryan called me that night. "You haven't answered in days. Are you alive or plotting world domination?" I laughed quietly, a little bitter. "Maybe a little of both." "Good, just didn't burn yourself out. You can't help anyone if you collapse first." "I won't," I said, conviction in my voice. "I've made a decision. I'm not broken. I'm planning." Ryan hesitated. "Planning what?" "To rise," I said firmly. "To build, to control what they thought they stole. And when the time comes," I didn't finish. He didn't need to hear it. The following week, I met Mr. Carter again. He handed me a folder with contacts, advice, and subtle strategies. "Start with these," he said. "Watch. Learn. Influence without them knowing." Took it, my hand steady now. "I will, I promise. I won't waste this." Goody nodded. "And remember, it's not just about revenge. It's about proving to yourself that betrayal doesn't define you." I stared at him, absorbing every word. The bitterness in me was still there, simmering, but now it was focused, like a blade being honed. At home, I spread out the folder's contents across my desk. Every connection, every detail, became a puzzle piece. I began plotting quietly, observing patterns, calculating moves. The fire of betrayal was now fuel for something bigger. "I can't let them see this coming," I muttered to myself. "I have to be patient. Invisible, I'm not." I picked up my notebook and started a new section. Goals, steps, moves, allies, weaknesses, every thought, every plan, recorded. Every observation of my sister's arrogance, my ex's charm. Their assumptions, they would all become ammunition. I thought about the nights I spent crying, about the isolation, the disbelief. Now, I let those feelings guide me differently. Pain became awareness. Rage became calculation. Heartbreak became strategy. "I'll rise," I whispered again. "I won't be small anymore. Not for them. Not for anyone. I'll own this." Quietly, smartly, fully. For the first time in weeks, I slept without trembling. Not with peace, exactly, but with purpose. I had chosen a path. I had made a decision, and I knew, deep down, the moment they realized I wasn't broken anymore, everything would change. I walked into the banquet hall, trying to appear casual. My sister was already there, laughing with a group of investors. My ex hovered nearby, smiling as if nothing had happened. I clenched my fists for a moment, then released them. Patience, strategy, quiet revenge. I approached a table where a few junior investors were seated. "Hi, I'm Alex," I said, shaking hands firmly. "I've been following your projects. Mind if I join the conversation?" One of them, a tall man with glasses, raised an eyebrow. "Alex, your sister mentioned you were out of the picture." "I was," I said lightly, keeping my tone calm. "But I've been studying the market, and I think there's potential for collaboration." He leaned in. "Interesting. Tell me more." I smiled, letting my words flow. I could feel eyes on me, some curious, some wary. I knew my sister was noticing, and that thought made a small, satisfied smile curl on my lips. Later, my sister approached. "So, you decided to grace the event with your presence?" Her voice was sweet, but I could feel the edge underneath. I thought I'd check on the competition. Hey, I said casually, sipping my drink. Competition? This isn't really your world, Alex. You know that, isn't it? I asked, raising an eyebrow. I've been learning a few things lately. Small steps, but they're effective. She laughed softly, clearly trying to mask irritation. Small steps. You're dreaming if you think you can match me here. Maybe, I said quietly, but sometimes dreams turn into reality when least expected. She frowned, and I felt a tiny victory in that frown. I turned away and joined another group, subtly sharing insights and advice, dropping little hints of knowledge that challenged assumptions without exposing myself fully. Wait, Alex, said one of the investors I just met. How did you know about the upcoming merger? That information isn't public? I have my sources, I replied smoothly, and I pay attention. The investor's eyes widened. Impressive. You've clearly been keeping yourself busy. I nodded. More than people realize. After the event, Ryan called. So how did it go? I sat on my couch, sipping water. Better than expected. I got people talking, noticed patterns, and my sister Izo were of me now. That counts as progress. Don't lose focus. You're building quietly, Alex. That's important. I know, I said, glancing at my notebook, already filled with notes and observations. Every move has to be calculated. One slip, and everything could collapse. The next week, I started attending smaller meetings my sister usually dominated. At first, she tried to dismiss me, but I slowly made my presence known. At one meeting, she leaned over and whispered, "Are you serious? You're trying to compete here?" I smiled softly. Not compete, collaborate with the right people. Collaboration. She sounded incredulous. You mean trying to undermine me? Hardly, I said. Just making sure ideas are sound. You know, me, I care about quality. She didn't answer, just gave a tight smile. I knew I had unsettled her even slightly. That small discomfort was a victory in itself. I started noticing patterns in my sister's interactions, the favors she expected, the people she over-relied on, the weaknesses she exposed without realizing it. I documented everything. One evening, I ran into my ex at a dinner for potential investors. He greeted me with that charming smile. "Alex, didn't expect to see you here." I could say the same, I replied evenly. "You've been busy," he observed. "I heard some people are noticing your input lately," I shrugged. "Just trying to make myself useful." He studied me for a moment, suspicious, then nodded. "Well, good to see you moving forward." "Forward is all I know how to go," I said, keeping my tone neutral, but controlled. After he walked away, I whispered to myself, "Forward, yes, and one day ahead." My coworker Sam dropped by the office the next day. "You're changing, Alex. People are starting to see you differently. It's subtle, but it's there." I smiled faintly. Good. That's what I want. Subtle. Invisible until the right moment. Just didn't let it consume you, Sam warned. Quiet revenge is fine, but don't lose yourself in the process. I won't, I said, though I wasn't entirely sure. I knew there was a risk, but I also knew what betrayal had taught me. Pain could either destroy me or fuel me. I walked into the conference room, feeling the weight of months of planning on my shoulders. My sister's usual energy filled the space. She was smiling, laughing, directing attention to herself. My ex lingered near her, exuding charm. But today, I had leverage they didn't expect, Alex, said Peter, one of the junior investors I'd been cultivating. I've reviewed the proposal. Your analysis is impressive. Thank you, I said calmly, holding their eyes. I believe this can be mutually beneficial. Small adjustments, but high potential. I noticed my sister glance at me, eyebrows knitting. Her smirk faltered slightly. My ex's expression was curious, faintly uneasy. You really think this is better than my plan? She asked, voice sharp. I leaned forward. It's complementary. It improves efficiency and revenue projections. You've done well, but there's room for refinement. Her lips pressed tight. Refinement? You mean you're trying to overshadow me? I'm not trying to overshadow, I replied smoothly. I'm just presenting data. The results speak for themselves. Peter spoke up. Honestly, I'm impressed. Alex's revisions are substantial. It could increase profits by at least 15%. The room went silent for a moment. I caught my sister's eye. She was visibly unsettled. Later in private, Peter pulled me aside. You've shifted the balance. People are starting to notice. Even some of your sister's allies are questioning her choices. Good. That's exactly what I needed. Keep observing. Stay subtle. Nothing obvious yet. You're careful. Smart, he said, but you'll need more support if this is going to stick. I can help, but only if you want to play long game. I do, I said firmly. I've been planning this quietly. The key is timing. One wrong move, and it could all backfire. Peter smiled faintly. Then you're ready. That night, I ran into Jessica, one of my sister's closest allies. She hesitated when she saw me. Alexi. Hey, I said lightly. Busy a bit, she admitted. Look, your sister's plans, they're not as flawless as she thinks. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, do tell. She glanced around, voice low. Some of the investors are nervous. Some are questioning her strategies. They've started talking. You know how it goes. I smiled faintly. I do know how it goes. And you're? Just observing? I don't like how she's been handling things lately. Some of it doesn't make sense. I'm not sure I can fully back her anymore. I nodded slowly. That's very useful information, Jessica. Thank you. Her eyes lingered on me, suspicious but curious. Careful, Alex. You're treading dangerous waters. I know, I said, voice calm but steady. But I've learned to navigate. The next day, my sister confronted me in the hallway. Alex, I don't know what you're doing, but people are noticing. Don't overstep. Not overstepping, I said evenly. I'm simply participating. Offering solutions. That's all? You think you can outshine me? She hissed. I don't need to outshine, I replied. I just need to be effective. Her lips trembled slightly. I caught that. The first visible crack in her composure. Later, I checked in with Peter again. The revisions went through, he said. Investors are impressed. Some are even asking for follow-up meetings. Your sister is panicking quietly. I smiled faintly. Exactly. Panic is useful, but I'll stay calm. Let her crumble from within. At dinner that evening, my ex approached me. Alexio are making moves. I didn't expect it. I'm just doing my job, I said, tone neutral. You're dangerous, he said quietly. Almost a warning. I'm aware, I replied. Better to be prepared than blindsided, right? He scowled, turning away. I could feel the tension radiating off him. The charm and smugness he relied on no longer shielded him from scrutiny. My presence alone was disrupting his comfort zone. The following week, I noticed subtle shifts among my sister's network. Peter had been feeding me informations, small doubts, hesitations, minor disagreements. My sister's influence was starting to crack. Every subtle undermining of her decisions made her more reactive. In a meeting, she snapped at a colleague. Why wasn't this implemented correctly? Maybe the plan needed adjustment, a junior investor replied cautiously. My sister's glare cut across the table. I intervened lightly. Perhaps a minor tweak could align better with projected outcomes. It's just a suggestion. Heads turned. Some nodded at me. Some whispered quietly. My sister's smirk was gone. I saw a panic flicker in her eyes. Later, Jessica stopped by my office. Alexia are really shifting the balance. I didn't think you had this in you, I've learned, I said. You either adapt or get left behind. My sister's arrogance was a mistake. Are you planning to take it all? I'm planning to reclaim what's mine, I said quietly. Careful, measured, and I'll be ready when the time comes. That night, alone in my apartment, I reviewed my notes. Observations, weaknesses, alliances. I had compiled a detailed map of the battlefield. I whispered to myself, it's starting. The first cracks. And they don't even know it yet. I remembered the nights of heartbreak, the betrayal, the disbelief. That pain had shaped me, fueled me. It wasn't gone, but it was sharper now, controlled, purposeful. The turning point wasn't a single moment, it was a collection of subtle victories, strategic moves, of patience, and I had them all. I glanced at my phone messages from investors, small confirmations of trust, whispers of influence. My sister's allies were already questioning loyalty. My ex was uneasy. I smiled faintly. Patience, observation, execution, that's how this ends. Not with noise, but precision. I leaned back, sipping my coffee. The power is shifting. And soon Thea'll realize who they really underestimated. For the first time since the betrayal, I felt control. Not obvious, not dramatic, but undeniable. The tide had turned, and I was ready to ride it. The call came late in the evening. My phone vibrated against the desk, single name flashing across the screen. Peter, I answered cautiously. Alexia won't believe this. Peter said, his voice tight with barely contained excitement. Your sister's presentation today? She messed up. Big time. Investors are pulling back. Some have outright withdrawn support. I exhaled slowly, letting the tension in my shoulders ease. Good. Finally, a crack in her facade. Keep watching. Document everything. It's already ahead of you, he said. Even your ex is panicking. They're realizing they underestimated you. I smiled faintly. Patience, Peter. Let them crumble at their own pace. No need to rush. The next morning, I arrived at the office early. My sister's name had already hit the rumor mill, whispers of lost credibility, missed opportunities, and investors questioning judgment. I watched her enter, her usual confidence replaced by tension. Her heels clicked across the floor, but each step seemed calculated, defensive. Alex, she said, voice trembling slightly. We need to talk. About what? I asked lightly, pretending calm. You'd know writhing. I can fix this if you fix what? I interrupted, leaning against the desk. Peter told me about the presentation. Some investors pulling out? Seems like a pattern, she faltered. It made a few errors. But it's not. It's exactly what I expected, I said softly. Patterns. Consequences. Actions have results. Her eyes narrowed. Are you gloating? Not gloating, I replied evenly. Just observing. Justice doesn't need boasting. It's imply occurs. Later, my ex called me. His tone was desperate, pleading. Alex, please, you can talk. I can explain. I didn't explain what? I asked, voice cool. How you betrayed me. How you destroyed my trust. E made mistakes. But I love you. I never meant you never meant to care, I said quietly. That's the difference. Actions matter more than words. And your actions destroyed what we had. He sighed, frustration and fear lacing every word. I can fix this. I can make things right. You can't, I said. Not anymore. Karma has a way of balancing itself. I didn't need to act hastily. You set the stage for your own collapse. Could hear his footsteps pacing. Alex, please. You're smarter than this. Don't leave Mead. Don't let her win. I'm not leaving anyone, I replied. I'm simply letting reality do its work. And it's working beautifully, isn't it? He fell silent for a moment, the only sound the distant hum of traffic. You've changed, he said finally. I have, I admitted. Pain reshapes us. Betrayal reshapes us. And I've chosen to rise instead of crumble. That's the difference between us now. Meanwhile, my sister was trying desperately to salvage what remained of her reputation. She called a meeting with key associates, her voice tight, her usual charm gone. Team, she said, forcing a smile. We need to handle this carefully. We can still recover, the junior investor spoke up. With respect, Alex's revisions were solid. Your last plan left gaps. Her eyes darted toward me, as if I had personally sabotaged her. Gaps. That's unfair. We unfair? I said softly. No, it's just the result of decisions made poorly. Accountability isn't unfair. It's reality. Her lips pressed tight. The room shifted slightly, colleagues exchanging glances. I saw the moment her confidence wavered, small but visible. That night, I received an email notification. My sister's account, a formal letter from investors terminating a partnership. I opened it, heart steady, but satisfaction quietly rising. They were losing status, credibility, things they had taken for granted. I whispered to myself, every action has a reaction, and they didn't see it coming. Days later, my ex appeared at my door unannounced. His face was pale, eyes wide with desperation. Alex, please. I need to speak with you. I can't handle this. I can't. I stepped aside to let him in, keeping my tone calm. Have a seat. Let's talk, Hughes. I walked into the boardroom that morning, the weight of months of effort, heavy but steady on my shoulders. Every file, every note, every strategy I had meticulously planned over sleepless nights was here, in my hands. Today, it would all come together. Peter greeted me at the door with a subtle nod. Morning, Alex. Everyone's ready. They're expecting your presentation. I exhaled slowly. Let's do this. Quietly, effectively. No theatrics. The room buzzed with tension and anticipation as investors, partners, and colleagues settled. My sister and ex were present, both pale, their earlier arrogance replaced by unease. I caught her eye. No smirk. Only uncertainty. And my ex looked like he wanted the ground to swallow him whole. Alex, the floor is yours, the lead investor said, gesturing to the front. I stepped forward, calm, composed. Thank you. I want to start with the simple truths. Success depends on clarity, strategy, and accountability. My proposals focus on realistic growth and sustainable influence. Mistakes from the past can't be ignored, they guide us forward. My sister's hand twitched on the table. I knew she had intended to lead this presentation, to reclaim some sense of control. She realized now it was too late. Peter whispered beside me, "They're watching your every move." "I know," I said softly. "That's part of the plan." I launched into the presentation, each slide meticulously curated to show competence, foresight, and vision. I dropped subtle hints about the flaws in previous strategies, carefully avoiding direct confrontation, but everyone understood the implication. My sister's past misjudgments were laid bare. My ex's reliance on charm instead of action subtly highlighted. Halfway through, my sister's assistant leaned over. "Alex, you're brilliant." "Thank you," I said quietly, focusing forward. It's been a lot of study, observation, and learning from mistakes, both mine and others. After the presentation, questions came rapidly. Investors challenged my proposals, testing me, but I answered each calmly, confidently, turning skepticism into respect. Later, my ex leaned toward me, voice low. How did you? You weren't ready for this." "I thought you thought wrong," I said evenly. "Patience, observation, strategy. I acted only when the time was right. You underestimated me again." Swallowed hard, words failing. I could see the fear and regret etched across his face. Across the room, my sister's hands clenched on the table. She spoke up, voice tight. "Alex, you've taken everything from us." "How?" I turned slowly, looking at her with calm, controlled eyes. "I didn't take anything. I reclaimed what was mine. You and he chose paths of betrayal, arrogance, and short-sightedness. The consequences followed naturally. I merely positioned myself to benefit from what reality provided." Her lips trembled. "You're ruthless and precise," I corrected softly. "There's a difference. Ruthless implies anger. Precision implies control, understanding, and timing." Peter leaned in quietly. They're realizing it now. Every ally questioning loyalty, every investor noticing competence. "You've shifted the landscape, Alex." I nodded slightly. "Good. Let it happen. The collapse is as important as the rise." After the meeting, I walked the corridors of the office, observing reactions. Whispers of my competence, nods of respect, and subtle acknowledgement of my authority surrounded me. My sister passed by, shoulders tense, eyes downcast. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. The subtle shift in power, the quiet acknowledgement of her loss, was more satisfying than any dramatic confrontation could ever be. That evening, I received a text from Ryan. "You did it. They're seeing it now. You're unstoppable." I smiled faintly, replying, "It's not about being unstoppable. It's about rising, about being precise. Timing matters." Later that night, I sat in my office, viewing emails confirming finalized investments, partnerships, and control over previously disputed ventures. The weight of authority settled around me, but it wasn't arrogance, it was calm, strategic assurance. I thought back to the nights I spent isolated, plotting quietly. Every tear, every pang of self-doubt, every sleepless night had led to this. Pain had been my fuel, betrayal my guide, patience my weapon. The phone rang. My sister, hesitant, fragile. "Alex," she began. "I can wet talk." I paused, fingers hovering over the phone. My instinct was to ignore it, to revel in silence, but I didn't. I replied quietly, "We can talk, but there's nothing to fix. Reality has done that." I understood now. "It made mistakes," she said, voice barely audible. "It betrayed trust. I don't expect forgiveness, just acknowledgement that I was wrong." I exhaled slowly. Acknowledgement is already given. Learn from it. That's the most anyone can do. She paused, then whispered, "Thank you for showing me." I didn't respond immediately. I simply set the phone down and stared out the window at the city lights. Closure didn't need dialogue, it came from awareness, understanding, and acceptance. The next morning, I attended a formal signing event for a major partnership that I now controlled entirely. Cameras flashed, colleagues nodded, investors shook hands. I felt the power and authority that once eluded me. Yet, I remained grounded, aware that this was not about gloating, but about precision and accomplishment. Peter came up beside me. "You've changed the game completely. Everyone's respect is earned, solid, undeniable. You've done more than just reclaim. I've reclaimed and I've learned," I said softly. "Everything I've endured of betrayal has shaped me. That's the true victory." The X appeared again, shoulders slumped, eyes hollow. "Alex Dizzle of Thisho? Through learning, patience, and strategy," I said. I didn't rush. I didn't act out of anger. I acted with purpose. That's how you win without chaos, without noise. He nodded slowly, swallowing hard. "I see that now." I didn't respond. Words were unnecessary. My rise was clear, visible, undeniable. Later alone, I reflected on everything. Betrayal, heartbreak, loss, Rachel had led me here. But more importantly, growth, patience, and strategy had allowed me to rise. I thought about forgiveness, not for their sake, but for mine. Not everything could be forgiven. Not everything needed revenge. The balance of justice and personal peace was mine to define. I thought back to letters I'd found months ago, messages I'd intercepted, the small gestures of betrayal that once crushed me. Now, they were lessons, fuel, tools for understanding power, influence in human nature. A quiet satisfaction filled me. Not arrogance, not vindictiveness, just calm understanding. I had survived, learned, and reclaimed what was mine. The final moments of the signing passed. I shook hands, exchanged nods, and observed the room. Respect was earned, influence secured, fortune consolidated. But beyond material victory, I felt a deeper triumph, the ability to rise above pain, betrayal, and manipulation. Peter whispered beside me, "You've done it. The journey complete." Not complete. Always growth. Always learning. But closure is here. That's enough for now. Later, I returned to my apartment. I poured a glass of wine sitting by the window, city lights glowing. I reflected on who I was before betrayal, trusting, naive, emotionally, and who I had become, strategic, strong, independent. Both versions coexisted, but the latter was in control. I thought quietly to myself, trust wisely, act with precision, rise when ready. That's the lesson. That's the reward. The phone buzzed again, a message from a distant colleague. Congratulations. Everyone knows what you've accomplished. You've set the standard. I smiled faintly. Not the standard, I whispered. Just my path. Quiet, calculated, relentless. And I'm finally free. I set the phone down and looked at the night sky. Freedom wasn't loud. It wasn't about revenge. It was about reclamation of self, of purpose, of destiny. And for the first time in months, I felt complete. I whispered again, softly to myself. I've risen. I've learned. I've reclaimed, and that is enough. The city hummed below, indifferent, alive, eternal, and I finally felt aligned with it, steady, strong, and at peace.